wire guru. We've made it through the bye weeks, okay? Getting ready to head into week 11. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different than what you're used to. You're used to me going through quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Well, I'm getting rid of the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends this week only. And I'm going to focus on running backs. And I have a ton of picks for you. But before we get into them, what I want to do is go through a recap from all of my other weeks and my preseason to show you who has been selected over this season at running back. And if you've been paying attention, you'd have a good number of these folks on your team, on your bench, and you'd be ready for what we saw this week. Lots of injuries. And when injuries happen, you know, the people that have been working the waiver wire are going to be the ones that benefit. And I'm hoping you're benefiting. I'm going to go through this recap to show you all these people on the recap, if they're on your waiver wire, you need to go pick up. That's the bottom line. That's a big major part of the recap, is go pick up these people that I'm going to discuss. Then after I go through the recap, I'm going to go through about 5 players that I am looking at right now for the future through the playoffs, okay? And for Dynasty League owners, for Dynasty purposes. These are 5. They're very speculative, okay? But let's go through the recap first, and I'm going to run right through this. The first person I recommended in week 2, and I recommended them in week 5, is Ricky Williams. And now he's a big beneficiary of Ronnie Brown going down. I imagine he's not on anybody's waiver wire, but if you listened, you'd be, boom, Ricky Williams. Okay, that was a week 2 and a week 5 recommendation on the video. Other recommendation on the video. This guy was recommended in the off-season video, recommended in week 3 and week 4. It's Lesean McCoy. Westbrook keeps having concussions. McCoy is in. Okay, you need to have Lesean McCoy if he's out there on the waiver wire. Please go pick him up. Next, this guy was recommended in week 3, week 4, and last week in week 10, and that's Justin Forsett on Seattle. You see, Julius Jones has a little bit of internal bleeding. They say he could possibly be back next week. I highly doubt that. I bet you he's out for another week. Okay, so it will be, Justin Forsett, and you should go pick him up if he's on your waiver wire. But if you've been listening to the videos, you should already have this guy. Next, Rashard Mendenhall. I mentioned him in the offseason and in week 5. He is the lone starter out there in Pittsburgh. Obviously, you have Willie Parker, Mewaldy Moore, but it's really the Mendenhall show, and hopefully all of you guys either drafted him or selected him by week 5. Next, Ryan Moats. I recommended him in week 5 and week 9. He is going to still split carries with Slayton, but still someone great to have on the bench right now. If Slayton fumbles again or gets hurt, boom, Ryan Moats. He's a guy I'd have on my bench, not necessarily a weekly starter. Next, recommendation from week 6 and week 9 is Jamaal Charles. Okay, he'll be splitting time with Kolby Smith, but still, for you PPR leaguers, great person to have in a PPR situation. Next, this guy, Laurence Maroney, was recommended in the offseason and week 7. He's a clear-out starter. Sammy Morris is coming back soon, but hopefully all you guys benefited from Laurence Maroney and have been able to start him maybe over the last couple weeks. I'd definitely start him again next week. Next, if you were listening in week 8, you'd have Jason Snelling. Michael Turner, looks like he has a high ankle sprain. Michael Turner has never really been injured, so I expect him to recover quickly and come back. But that does mean Jason Snelling should at least get 1 or 2 starts in the next 2 weeks. So Jason Snelling is a huge pickup if he's out there on your waiver wires. Run and grab him. Hopefully some of you already got him in week 8. Next is Chris Wells. Beanie Wells, big 2 touchdowns. He was recommended in the offseason. He was recommended in week 8. Hopefully you already have him on your bench ready to go. All right, this is another great person to have. Next, I recommended him last week. Ladell Betts came out, showed him what's up. Definitely a great spot starter again, especially if he's out there. Go pick him up. I don't expect Portis to be back again next week. I think Betts gets the start. This guy could fill in for you Ronnie Brown owners, Michael Turner owners, okay, Cedric Benson if he doesn't play owners, but Ladell Betts should be picked up. Next is Kolby Smith. He was recommended last week. He is going to be splitting time with Jamaal Charles in Kansas City and actually could edge out Charles for the starting position. So Kolby Smith should definitely be on your bench right now and ready to go. He was recommended last week. The other person that was recommended in week 6 and week 10 was Sammy Morris. He's getting healthy. He's returning to practice. He's going to come back, take some of Laurence Maroney's carries. Sammy Morris is someone you should definitely go get if you don't have him. Next is Shonn Greene. He was recommended in week 8. You know, if Thomas Jones were to go down, remember Jones has been hurt before. He is older. If he goes down, Shonn Greene's a man there. He's already getting some carries, you know, about 6 to 8 carries a week. Not really enough to warrant a start, but if Thomas Jones goes down, you know, Shonn Greene's ready to go. I know some of you have him on your bench. Next, he was recommended in week 9, Leonard Weaver. As long as Westbrook's out, Weaver is a great option. Somebody I used in a desperate situation when he scored that 1 week. You know, so Leonard Weaver would be somebody, you know, I definitely have on my bench if I really am desperate at running back, because maybe you had Ronnie Brown and Turner. You know, then Weaver can be someone you can start. All right, that's the recap. That is, I think, 14 players. If you've been watching videos, that's almost a full team of running backs, you know, right there, that you should have been able to pick up off the waiver wire and use for spot starts or injuries in this case. Okay, so we're through the bye weeks, so now we got ready for injuries. Okay, let's go through speculation. Okay, these are 5 players I want you to put on your radar now. If you have the extra room on your bench, you can pick up and stash, especially for Dynasty Leaguers. Okay, so Dynasty Leaguers, pay attention right now. First one, Chris Jennings. If you can name a team right now, you're awesome. Chris Jennings, anybody know? Probably not. Chris Jennings on Cleveland Browns, okay? I've heard he is a better runner than Jerome Harrison. It's no mystery Jamal Lewis is going to be retired after this season. About 90% sure that's going to happen. Chris Jennings went undrafted at Arizona. They picked him up, and he looks strong, and they like the kid. Chris Jennings, Dynasty owners, watch him. If you have extra space, grab him. I did. Okay, next, Chad Simpson on Indianapolis Colts. Okay, Indianapolis Colts, Chris Simpson is a pretty interesting guy. He's got the size and the speed. You know, if Brown or a Dye misses time, and I think Brown might miss some time with that shoulder injury, then you have Chad Simpson. Next, Lewis Rankin on Seattle. I also have stashed this guy away. If Julius Jones ends up missing even more time, this guy's going to split time with Justin Forsett. He's bigger than Forsett. He can catch. He's a really interesting player. I think he's pretty darn talented. Might not get the workload we want, so he's going to be someone for Dynasty Leagues just to stash away. Okay, here is my 4th pick, Bernard Scott at Cincinnati. Okay, only if Chris Benson misses time. If Chris Benson plays, Bernard's just going to sit. If Cedric Benson misses time, then you got Bernard Scott, who will get the workload. Okay, so just have him ready. I think Benson will play next week, FYI. Last is a free agent, Larry Johnson. Sure, he got dropped in a bunch of leagues. Go ahead and stash him. I did. I'm waiting for him to get signed. I hope he hits a situation where the team really needs a running back, or an injury, or some form of a team that really needs a running back. The worst case scenario is he goes on a team just for backup. Like, let's say Cincinnati drafts him. He's not going to play unless Benson doesn't. So we got to hope Larry Johnson goes to a team that can really use a running back, and, you know, that's why I got to stash him. He's got that huge upside, only if you have room. Okay, that was a ton of picks, guys. If you need help, Hatty Waiver Wire Guru at hattywaiverwireguru.com. Visit the website, hattywaiverwireguru.com. We have weekly rankings, articles, all of your needs. Good luck to you this week. There's a lot of picks for you. Let's get to the play.